Folks, I am Sarvada and today we'll make Rasmalai. In English, it means syrup of cream. I bet for 30 to 40% of Indians, this is their favorite dessert. So what is this dessert? This is essentially cottage cheese balls or discs soaked in sugar syrup and then added to this syrup of cream. Sounds so heavenly. Now, let's check out this delicate recipe starting with the ingredients. So in ingredients we have 10 cashews chopped, 20 almonds thinly sliced, about 8 green cardamom pods, 10 to 20 strands of saffron, yellow food coloring, this is optional, 1 liter of water, 1 teaspoon of cornstarch. You can use corn flour or semolina in the same quantity, 2 to 4 tablespoons of white vinegar, about 2 cups of sugar. You can adjust the amount of sugar based on how sweet you want your rasmalai. And we have 2 types of milk. We'll use whole milk, about 1.5 liters or half a gallon for the syrup or the ras of the rasmalai. And we'll use 1.5 liters or half a gallon of low fat or skim or 1% fat milk for our Rasagola or the cheese balls that we make. Now it is important to use low fat milk because fat actually makes the cheese dough very dense. So essentially the sponge balls will actually break or become hard or become brittle. So to avoid all of that, we are using low fat milk. So yeah, let's get the process started. I have added milk to a large bowl and I put a thermometer here. I want to bring the milk just to a boil and then I'll turn off the heat. As the temperature of milk is rising, you will see that there is some fat which forms on the top of the milk. So we have to take out the fat when it forms, and we also should continuously stir the milk so that it does not stick on the bottom of the pan. Now while the milk is getting heated, I've prepared a setup here. So I've taken a large bowl, I'm taking a strainer and putting it here, and this is muslin cloth. This is like very thin cheese cloth. We'll use this to strain the cheese that we make here and also keep some very cold, like ice cold water ready when the cheese is done. So now the milk is at boiling temperature. You see it has started boiling. I will turn off the heat. So now the milk is cold enough and I've put my setup of the muslin cloth right beside it, and I have also a jug of water ready. So now I'll just stir this a bit, take out all this fat that you see. If there is more fat, just take out the fat from the top and don't let it settle. That will make the cheese heavy. And now I'll add the vinegar mixture, all of it, stir it a bit and let it sit. The milk should curdle automatically. You can add more vinegar if needed. You see, now the cheese has curdled completely. So I'll bring my muslin cloth here and carefully pour all of this mixture in here and immediately put water. This helps to cool down this mix and prevents the cheese from further cooking. I'll just take a spoon and make sure the water goes in everywhere. I'll just take out the cheesecloth and start squeezing it. I want to make sure that all the water, most of the water, we lose. And then I'll let it sit on this for about an hour or so that it can lose more moisture. I'll take the cardamom, put it in and make a powder of it. And I'll take out the skins. So now we'll start making the syrup. In order to make the syrup or the ras, I've taken a large wide mouth pan. So this is at really low heat to make sure the milk does not get scorched. And I've added half a gallon of whole milk. Now I'll keep stirring the milk and I want to reduce it by to 70%. That means it should be about 1 liter by the time I reduce it, or even 0.9 liters or 900 milliliter when I reduce it. I don't want to reduce it to a very thick milk because the sponge balls or the cheese balls won't absorb a thick syrup. As you can see, the milk is steaming, so I'll continue stirring in 1 to 2 minute intervals just to make sure the milk does not get scorched in the pan. And the consistency of this would be like evaporated milk. You can use evaporated milk instead and start cooking from there. But I'm just doing it to show you how to make the syrup of Rasmalai from scratch, right from milk. The milk has started to reduce. It has reduced to about 10-15%. So now I'll add all the sugar. This is about 3/4 cup or 3/4 cup of sugar. Make sure I mix it well. And you can adjust the quantity of sugar based on how sweet you want the syrup to be. So I'll take some of this milk and add in the saffron. Mix it well and we'll add it back. So this is the saffron where we add it. It will become a light yellow in color. We'll add this back and keep boiling this and reducing the milk. I'll also add the cardamom powder that we just made from fresh cardamoms and add some food coloring. This is yellow color and this is optional. If you want this to be like authentic color, you just can add a couple of drops of yellow color. And I'm using a plant-based color. You can use a powder-based color or a gel color just to make this mix yellowish. And now you can also add the cashews and the almonds. And I'll continue cooking this for about 10 more minutes and I think we should be done. Now about the cardamom and the saffron, you can adjust this based on your preference. Although for cardamom, what I find is if you have young cardamom like that is fresh out of the tree, you need less cardamoms in that case. But if a cardamom has been in a packet for a long time, you actually need more cardamom. And if you're using powdered cardamom from stores, you also need a little bit more than what you use using fresh cardamom. So keep that in mind when you're making this. The flavor will differ by the type of cardamom, age of cardamom, and whether you're using fresh or powdered. So keep that in mind. So I'll switch off the flame and we are done with the syrup. Now we'll start. It has been like an hour or so and the cheese should have dried by now. So I'm taking out the cheese ball from the muslin cloth. See, it is so dry now. Perfect. This is how we wanted it. So I've taken a large baking pan essentially to knead the cheese balls. You can take a flat surface to do that as well. So as you see the cheese ball, I'll just crumble it. And you see this is very granular. It's not smooth at all. I'll just break it into pieces and then start the kneading. To knead, what you need to do is use the base of your palm and press against the cheese and slide it forward. Combine, press against the cheese, slide it forward, bring everything together, press against the cheese, slide it forward. So we'll keep doing that motion. And the cheese will become super smooth after we are done. So now this is a fine granular mix. So now I'll add 1 teaspoon of cornstarch or corn flour or semolina based on what you have it. And I'll mix this properly. This helps the cheese mix to bind well. So I'll continue the kneading process. The cheese has started coming together and it has become super smooth. I'll knead it for about 2-3 more minutes and it should be done. The point where you stop kneading is where the cheese starts to release oil and your base of the palm will start becoming shinier as if you have oil on the base of your palm. That means the cheese has started to release oil, and that's when you stop kneading, because the oil essentially is responsible for making the sponge balls or the cheese balls dry or explode in water when we are cooking it. So make sure you stop kneading when oil starts to appear on your palm. So now the cheese ball is ready. See, there is no residue. That means everything is combined well and it's like a dough. So now it's time to make sponge balls or cheese balls to cook. So now I have taken 2 plates. I've kept the cheese ball here and I also have a wet muslin cloth which we use to make the cheese. I'll make pieces of this size, and this is like based on the size of the cheese balls that you want to make. And I'm just roughly cutting these into pieces. So I've divided the ball into 4, 8, 12 pieces. So I'll start making the cheese balls. So I'll just press these properly so that there are no cracks, and then I'll make cups in my hand and start rotating this and make a smooth ball like this, see, and then press it gently. So there are like small cracks, but this will hold well. And if you see more cracks, then continue kneading till the cracks go away. So I'll keep it here under a wet towel so that the dough does not dry out. And I'll continue making these balls. So all the dough balls or cheese balls are done. Now I'll heat up water, add sugar, and then we'll start cooking these. So I've taken a large pan, wide pan with a lid, and I'm adding about 1 to 2 liters of water just to make sure that the cheese balls dip completely. I'm also adding the remaining sugar into the water and mix it properly, and we'll make a good sugar syrup. So as you can see, the water has started to boil, the syrup is forming. So I'll open the lid and start dropping the cheese balls slowly. They'll initially sink and then they'll go up and start floating. And all of these will double in size. Now I'll close the lid and cook at medium high for about 8 minutes. As you can see, the cheese balls have more than double in size, and it has been 7 minutes. So I'll shake this a bit, just give it a mild shake and let it cook for another 2 minutes. Now while this is cooking, I've also prepared a bowl with ice cold water where we are going to put these cheese balls in. Now it has been 2 minutes. I'll just open the lid and let them cook for another 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. So it's been about 2 minutes, and as you see, they look so good. I'll open the lid, and there you go. You have the great looking cheese discs. Now I'll transfer these quickly to an ice bath. And this is the ice bath where I'm putting these in. And ideally, if they're cooked well, all of these should sink. Now as you can see, all of the cheese discs have sunk. That means they're cooked perfectly. So I'll wait for the cheese discs to cool down before assembling the syrup and the discs. The cheese discs are cool. So this is how they look. So I'll take out the water from the discs, and they've absorbed a lot of that water or syrup, and I'll put them here. And this is important for the discs to absorb the syrup. So I've squeezed water out from all of these discs. Now we'll add the Rasmalai syrup. There you go. These discs are ready to be fed with the syrup. So I've warmed up the syrup a bit, and now I'll add the syrup. I have to make sure that everything here is absolutely submerged in the syrup. Perfect. Now the discs will absorb all the syrup. Perfect. So our Rasmalai is ready. So I'll let the Rasmalai sit outside for about 2-3 hours before keeping it in the fridge. I'll cover it lightly because the syrup was still warm. So this was the recipe for Rasmalai. Try it out and let me know how it turned out for you in the comment section. And yes, if you like my video, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel.